chat Q&A or whichever. All right, Wade, you're up first. Let me get my thing up here. And all right, go ahead, Wade. Entity ID is very long for users to copy quickly just by looking at it. Is there a way to have a unique running format number for new records? Example would be WA1, WA2, WA3. Yeah. What is there we give you some of this for free with like cases and process folders that you can control. What's the thing you're creating here?
I seen it in process folders, but I was creating an entity with these records.
Okay.
Yeah, is there I guess a way to do that with entity? I haven't used any process folders. They're like what I'm doing is it's a form and they could fill out a bunch of questions. I have like a parent record that's the overall like what's the main outcome of all their questions, and then the child records is all their questions and how they answered them. But that main record, that's the overall like, hey, this is your final outcome for answering all these 30 questions. I just was saving as an entity, but I didn't see a like process. I dealt with process folder and it makes a nice unique ID, but I didn't see that the same for entities.
Yeah, we're not going to give you that for free, but because you can create your own flow for these things, let's create a database structure here called custom ID test. And this will be called, I don't know, I'll just call the thing custom ID. Now, if we look at this under advanced, we're not going to get anything for free. But we have steps. So in here, we could create a flow. And then this has changed a bit since the last time I've looked at this, but I think under integration, internal services, is it ID generation service? ID generation is get next ID. And so here you can give it a prefix. So let's use WA. Now, if I run this, does it run? Does it fail? It runs and it gives me WA with a bunch of zeros, 1. If I run this again, it should give me number 2. Yeah, there you go. So it tracks that. The ID generation service will track that. And then you can configure that using, like here, you can specify the number of fill characters. So prefix here is W is WA. And we'll say pad character is like 3. And length is 4. I'm not sure exactly. If I run this, what does this give me? WA. Oh, hold on. That's give me a bunch of 3s. Pad character is ignore. Let's try that. Doesn't like that. Pad character is 0. I guess I'm being stupid here. Length is 4. All right, so let's run that. So that should give me, there you go, WA 0004. And if I run that again, should be 0005. So in whatever flow you're using to create these things, you can just use these steps under. And again, that's integration, internal services, ID generation. And it's just looking, it's using this prefix as the custom key. And then every time you run the flow, it will generate a new ID number for you.
So it just stores that somewhere where that running number, whatever the next number is, it knows what the last one it did. It stores that somewhere in the database, I assume.
Yeah, it's in like a database sequence. It's yeah, and so it'll be different between environments. So it'll be unique to the database, and you can run SQL queries to reset it if you needed to. But yeah, it'll track that independently for you, and then you could just show that value in a text box on the form.
Just trying to keep myself out of trouble here. What would happen if or maybe another person did this exact same thing? Would it know to refer back to each other?
Say that one more time.
Like, let's say another user or another admin is on here and he created, for whatever reason, the same exact thing for a different entity.
Mm-hmm.
Would they conflict, or would they just
They
know
would.
to use? Oh, okay.
They would. You would get like incrementing numbers when each one was created. So like yours would be skipping by 2 for some reason, right? And then you would realize that someone else had used the same prefix.
Oh, well, I guess in my head, I guess that's good, that it would still be unique.
Yeah, it doesn't know anything about the flow that's calling it at all, or the data type it's associated with.
Okay, I guess in my head, that's what I'd prefer, to know that it's unique across all entities, and it's like that is the ID for this particular record. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And then I think at the data structure level, you can configure it to be unique. Like if we edit this thing, some customer showed me this.
Be unique would be, yeah, even better.
I think it's create
index.
Yeah,
right?
Create index, and then index values are unique. I think this will make sure that it is unique.
Okay.
So if I save this, right? And then if I create a report, let's create a report of that data structure really quick, just to see what data we have today. User defined type data structure, custom ID test, and here's our 2 things. Oh, I didn't actually create anything. That's funny. All right, let me actually go create a data type then, or create some data. So here's my flow. And then, oh, suck.
So
go ahead.
So when you debug, does it actually post that to the database as that ID is taken, or are you saying it doesn't?
Yeah, I believe, yes, it does.
Okay. So it'd probably go,
this should be like 5 or 6 or something.
00, yeah, 6 or 5 or whatever.
So let's do 4. Pad character is 0. Prefix, let me just do WP here. Create a different one. And then user defined types, database structure, custom ID test, create. And on here, we'll do build data. And then custom ID, we'll select the value, not step. And we'll debug this. Okay, and then we'll duplicate our tab. Yes, Vitaly, is based on sequence and SQL. What happens where decisions index is 5 digits and we could test here. I'm assuming it throws an error if the number is bigger than the. I don't know that there is a limit. We could test. Let's see here. So here's my report. I'm gonna run my report. So there's WP01. So if I run this flow again, oh, hold on, sorry. Let me run this again. Come back to my report and run this. And there's WP02. Now in this flow, no, I want to save this. What I'm going to do is connect here directly. I'm just going to set this to WP002, right? Is it 1, 2, 1, 0, or 3 zeros? 3 zeros. Okay. If I'm right, it should fail, and the failure will be could not merge, error message, violation of unique key constraint. So that will allow me to make sure that that value on that is unique.
That's great.
So then you just have to like include this logic or this step, in the create new question form or whatever, right? Whatever the create new question, flow.
All right, add that custom ID as a new field, and then add the flow to supply it. Okay. Got it.
Yep.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
What happens to the decisions index, where decisions index is 5 digits and index could be as large as an N64? I don't think that there's a problem. Like if we did like I think it'll just keep growing. So if we just put like a for loop in and ran this in a loop, 10,000 times. Oh, sorry, I meant to say for loop, not that. Number of iterations. There's no type. For loop. Let's do this 10,000 times and debug. Okay, that ran. So if we do our next one and we run this, that should give us an output of like, yeah, there you go. So it doesn't, it looks like it handles that gracefully. It'll just looks like it might keep the pad characters. Let's see. Let's just run this. Let's do this like 13 times. Right here. Can you reset sequence at 1 mil? I mean, you have to run a database query to do that work, Vitaly. Sure. If you can't, I'm sure you can. You just have to add logic, I guess, to check the sequence number. And if it's equal to or greater, if it's equal to 1 million, then run the SQL command to clear out the sequence. It's like reset sequence number in SQL Server, something like this. Yeah, alter sequence. Yeah, and you can edit the sequence directly if you needed more control over how the sequence is generated. All right, what else we got? What would be the number generated by decisions? For what? If you reset the sequence at 1 million, I think the number would be 1 or 0. Yeah, it'd be 1 or 0, right? All right, what other questions do we have? So decisions will not display that we are at 1 million, but will display 0, 0. We're not saving anything, Vitaly. We're just reading right out of the sequence. So whatever the sequence sends us back is what we're using. There's no intermediate data store. But you can have decisions add padding characters to whatever is returned by the sequence. All right, what do we got? Anybody else got anything? All right, Tyson, ever seen a no view configured on a dashboard that is associated to an in-session page?
Yeah, kind of a fun one.
We do see this sometimes when there's like, shoot, same site cookies and things that can happen with users, not always, but with like single sign-on sessions. We've seen no view configured every once in a while. It's not usually permission based, but it could be. What do you mean? What's an in-session page mean for you there?
Yeah, so we have we've done some decisions work and we're outputting the items that a user needs to go look at, right? And so there's a link to that work item. They click on that. It's supposed to take them to a page that displays all that information so they can do the research and then type their notes in. I have some users that it's working for, and some users, when they click into that dashboard folder, it says no view configured.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head. Do we have a support ticket open for that?
I start here first, and I'll go support. Because
yeah,
if you can solve it, you know.
I wish my powers of were of such magnitude. No, like that sounds like it could be same site cookies.
Okay.
Which is a pretty easy thing for us to fix. We just want to like turn on. There's some settings that we need to configure. It's either permissions or same site cookies. It's probably one or the other.
Cool. Sweet. I went through the permissions chain, and that's where I ended up here. So I'll get a ticket in real quick.
Yeah, it's somebody on support will be able to identify that one really quickly, I think.
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet. Can we copy active flows from different forms? Unfortunately not. You can't. They're private flows, Vitaly. They're linked to the flow or to the form that they're connected to. I think you can create. I don't even know if you can create. I don't even think you can create them independently for forms. Why copy is available for flows? Why copy is available for flows and not form components? I think some form components are copyable. I think you can right click, copy and paste form components on a form. Or are you talking about active, like active form flow specifically? Oh, why can't you copy an active form flow and clone it in the same form? Or why can't you create a form component and copy it to a completely separate form? Oh, I mean, the answer to that's probably that you can if you use a user control. I don't know if I don't know if I have a good answer for why. I don't know that that use case is needed that much, probably. Let's replace control. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Alrighty, we're getting close to 12:30. Anybody else got anything? Can I see the make into a subflow? Oh yeah, sure. So we added this. I'm on 8:11. I think this is an 8:10. So like, let's just do add and subtract. And then here we'll do like a create. Actually, so I'll put two numbers here. I'll just say number 1, oops, which is an integer, and number 2, which is an integer. Then I'll pass those, oops, to my add step here. Number 1 and number 2. And then I'm going to subtract number 2 from the output of the add step and go to my in step. So now should be able to grab these, create subflow, name add and subtract, create subflow. And then this should have two inputs, number 1 and number 2. Well, I guess I should have, and it doesn't have an output. And then I can come here and edit this. And now I have those 2 steps in that one subflow. Both together. Yeah, this is a long requested feature. And we wrote it in the most bland way possible. Vitaly, are you asking about a like to design a recursive flow? I tried this before and failed. Okay, I guess that's everything for today. Who is here for us tomorrow? I believe we've got Jared tomorrow, and then we've got Wilmerink on Thursday. All right. All right, appreciate the questions, everybody, and see you next week.